Hello, I am Kim Smith, and welcome to The Key, where you will receive key strategies, information, and motivation needed to secure and maintain quality housing. And once again, we're here on the Lower East Side at the Jacob Riis houses with continued issues of arsenic in the water, lack of repairs, and so much more are going on. But before we discuss current challenges at the Jacob Riis houses, let's rewind to October of 2022, where Councilman Charles Barron, Public Advocate Jemani Williams, representation from NYCHA houses, just to name a few, answered questions and addressed issues concerning the arsenic incident in September of 2022. We're here in City Hall, about to enter into the chambers where the Jacob Riis houses hearing has been moved to adequately accommodate the residents for the upcoming hearing. Stay tuned.
You're not supposed to smell water. It's supposed to be odorless. Listen to this hearing. Listen to what you're saying and how you're justifying all of this. It's a damn shame.
There was no contamination for arsenic in the water. In the scientific results, if you review them, show that. In the retraction from the laboratory, which was unprecedented, and probably they had put another letterhead, hugely embarrassing for that laboratory, retracted all prior results. But we will continue to test, to your question of rebuilding back trust. I will be there tomorrow. We will be testing tomorrow. We will be testing, as I said, twice a month and sharing that information with residents and explaining it.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and both chairs for this hearing. One, I acknowledge that people on the ground all the time, so I do appreciate that. But I want to make sure I heard clearly. It did sound like there was a submission that this whole incident was poorly managed. Is that accurate?
Well, I think there were some missteps, absolutely. And right now, an investigation is being undertaken by our compliance department.
So I did want to ask, it seemed like it took roughly 12 to 16 days for the first test results to come. Later on, we were getting the test results much quicker. Why was the decision made not to rush the test earlier, and who made that decision?
So yes, the first samples were taken on August 13th, and we continued to follow up with the lab multiple times each week until finally on August 29th we got the first results.
Why was the decision not made? Was there a rush put on it? The same rush that was put on later on a couple of weeks ago?
The same rush was not put on it. We didn't have any reason to expect the results that we got, and we had been following up with the vendor.
Whose decision was it not to make a rush on those tests to try and find out what's wrong with the water?
I did not ask for it to be rushed any further than following up multiple times during the week, asking for the results.
So you don't want to make a decision to rush it later?
Yes, once we got the first, we asked for the results to be expedited.
We had a tough time getting NYCHA to have meetings with the tenants throughout this whole process. Finally, the tenants had their own meeting that NYCHA came to. Whose decision was it that NYCHA would not come to any meetings throughout the whole process?
I don't think NYCHA made the decision to not come to any meetings.
All right, NYCHA absolutely made a decision not to hold any meetings, and they weren't coming to any meetings that people were saying they wanted to have. That I wasn't around when that was happening.
We had NYCHA staff on site at Riis answering questions from
the tenants were asking for a meeting, the same type of meeting that happened that Friday with Greg Russ and everybody was there. NYCHA, I heard they called the meeting. I don't know if they did or didn't. Then they canceled it. Then they decided they wanted to wait until they had more information. So who made the decision that there would not be meetings during that time period?
I think we were waiting for information regarding the test results, and we wanted to make sure that we had information to provide.
Who made that decision?
I would assume Greg Russ, as the chair and CEO, made that decision.
I just wanted to say that one of the problems is, even if this had never happened, there'd still be a lot of tenants dealing with a lot of issues in terms of water, heat, hot water, electricity. That's what one of the major problems is. So this aside, we have problems with trucks and issues. This made it that much more worse, and that's a big problem that is not necessarily just a funding issue. I want to make that clear. Thank you.
6 months after the arsenic scare, 5 months after the city council hearing, in March of 2023, the residents organized a press conference to discuss the continued issues of disrepair and to discuss the trust.
I can show a picture of my tiles. I used to get flooding coming in through the tub, through the toilet all at once, feces.
Don't trust the trust. NYCHA and the city have a plan to privatize public housing, get rid of it, and push people out. They've already started with the pact partnerships with private development and management companies, which have resulted in increased evictions. This latest scheme is a sham vote. Participating legitimizes it and creates the illusion that this is what residents want. The vote options will be as such. Number 1 is the pact. It's straight up privatization. The transition to Section 8 puts NYCHA buildings into the management of private companies and developers who have the power to evict people and neglect residents the same way NYCHA does. Residents are forced to sign new leases. The second option they're giving is the trust. Privatization with a nonprofit cover. NYCHA and the city, which have been criminally negligent for years, will remain in charge of properties transitioned to Section 8. Promised funding would come from private lenders who exploit housing developments for profit. And the third option they give residents of public housing is to reject the pact and trust. Nothing changes. NYCHA gave you a choice between 2 privatization schemes. If you don't like it, you can eat shit and shut up. These are the options being presented. The official vote will only require 20% of heads of household to participate for the vote to be valid. For example, that means that if a building has 100 heads of household, only 20 would need to vote in each building to decide for the entire development what happens. We can't let them get away with lying that this is what the residents want. The NYCHA vote is offering bad options that don't represent the tenants' interests, to either sell out other NYCHA tenants and buildings or keep the decrepit in unsafe conditions. To prevent this from happening, we must boycott this vote. What is not up for a vote is what the residents actually want but don't have. Clean and healthy water to drink, cook, and bathe with. Elevators that work. No rats, roaches, or mice. Fix chronically leaking pipes. Fix crumbling walls and floors. Eliminate mold and lead contamination. Smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. And how about a paint job every decade? In short, what's not up for a vote is a home that is livable for human beings. Rogue Residents calls on all residents to boycott the vote. They need 20% to see these plans through. Let's give them 0 and send a message that residents will stand together and keep people in their homes. And there's a call to join Rogue Residents. There's a call to have people come together all across the city and take this plan on. Keep people in their homes, and that's only gonna happen by the very same people this plan means to displace. This is being read in the stead for Rogue Residents. This is worked in tandem with Dare to Struggle. We mean to keep going door to door, keep making noise about this, and make this a problem for the city. Because this city has made problems for the lives of families that they're trying to put onto the street. Families who are living in some of the worst conditions that anybody can be up against in their lives. The same companies that are gentrifying the Lower East Side and all of New York City, Bushwick, parts Lower Brooklyn, Queens, is the same company that NYCHA is partnering up with to make these packed Section 8 conversions and put people on the street. Thank you.
Please tune in next week as we begin to highlight various for-profit organizations that have been assigned to manage NYCHA houses throughout the 5 boroughs. We will discuss their track record regarding repairs, resident relations, and so much more. Thank you so much for watching The Key. I am Kim Smith, and if you would like to follow us on various forms of social media, please find us at The Key on Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you.